Good morning. Thanks so much for tuning into the trade setup right here on BQ Prime. I'm Neeraj Shah. And I tell you, the mid cap and the small cap space is roaring. It's literally roaring. A bunch of stocks, and if one digs deep enough, are are making some really smart moves and on some serious delivery based buying. We'll try and talk about some of those today on the show, on this segment rather. First, the global roundup. So the US markets rebounded from the really sharp downtick that they had, the worst fall since 2020, but they've rebounded yesterday, so which is good sign. Oil is edged marginally higher on China demand hope and the dollar rally pausing. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is going to visit Uzbekistan today and tomorrow to attend the SCO summit. Whether there is a meeting with Xi Jinping or no, our government has not yet laid it out, so we don't have an idea about that. But one thing that is happening now, twice in the last 15 days, we've seen rhetoric of disengagement on the India-China border. Remember a few days back, this come over now yesterday, as per PTI, MEA Jaishankar has reported that India-China disengagement at patrolling point 15, one problem less on the border. Well, all of this should be good news. So that's the long and short of the global roundup. Let's bring up what the key cues are. So the US markets did okay. About the Nasdaq bounced back a little bit. That should be a bit of a respite for, because a lot of people are invested in the Nasdaq stocks, right? So that is part one. And then let's look at the other cues as well. Remember the 10-year yield has paused at about 3.4 or thereabouts. So no big shakes. 2-year yields inched up, but 10-year yield is okay. The dollar index at 109 has been flattish too. Risk assets like Bitcoin are well, about 20 or 1,000, so no big changes out there either. SGX Nifty indicates a quiet start, but well, now we know from yesterday's move that what happens in the beginning is not something that happened in the end. But of course, it is an expiry day. The next we have 3 days before the FOMC, the Fed meeting comes out and the commentary comes out, and what Fed reiterates could well have a bearing too. So be careful of taking some fairly large leverage positions unless the pockets are ones in which you have inherent trust and study. That would probably be the key thing. So what's the trade setup therefore? The Nifty Bank, remember, has closed at record close, and it's 1% away from its all-time highs, while the Nifty is still some time. So banks are continuing to rule the rules. And by the way, the interesting thing is, yesterday and day before, there have been a bunch of these banking meetings and conference takeaways, and every brokerage worth its salt is making a case for buying financial stocks, private financials. So do watch out for banks. Cement is seeing upgrades. Yesterday I saw Nirmal Bang upgrade a bunch of these cement stocks to a buy. Some of the other brokerages have done that. Remember, Ambuja Cement comes out of the FNO ban today. There is a board meet for fundraising tomorrow, and the M&A chatter would therefore be very, very high when it comes to Ambuja, right? Because they have said that they are looking at inorganic moves, augmenting capacity. Ultratech is on the prowl as well. So therefore, a bunch of these mid-sized cement names and small cement names are up and active. We've seen the same happen to India Cements yesterday, for example. Big up move, very strong build up on the FNO side. So lots happening out there in the cement space. Shouldn't surprise anybody. But yeah, ever since the Adani Group bought out Holcim assets, but just saying that watch out for this pocket and watch out for logistics sector as well. It will stay in focus ahead of the national logistics policy. So I think that is something you got to keep in mind. A bunch of these stocks are already very active. You might want to keep an eye out for those. Um, by the way, a really nice conversation slated to come up today. We're kickstarting a new series, rather our series Alpha Moguls, a new season for that. And starting today, every Thursday at 11 a.m. or thereabouts, we'll have a conversation with one Alpha Mogul. We start off or kickstart this series with Pratik Agarwal of ASK Investment Managers, followed up with a bunch of other smart portfolio managers. So this is something you might want to tune in. It promises to be an engaging conversation. By the way, while everything sounds hunky-dory, it's good to balance it out. And therefore, I'm balancing it out today with a view from Ray Dalio. He put out a post on LinkedIn. I thought it was important to bring it out. He says it looks like interest rates will have to rise a lot. He indicates rates likely headed towards the higher end of the 4.5 to 4 to 6% range. He's saying that the rise will bring the private sector credit growth down, which will also bring down private sector spending and hence the economy down with it. Net net, he equates the math as that if the rates were to increase to about 4.5%, which is what he believes in, he believes it will lead to nearly a 20% plunge in equity pricing. Now, whether this happens or not, could happen. If it happens, what happens to India? Because everybody's talking about the India decoupling story, which typically doesn't happen. But hey, for now, India is charting its own course. And yesterday on Twitter Spaces, a bunch of people said that there are pockets which are charting their own course, irrespective of what's happening around the world. India could well be a pocket at large out there too. Remains to be seen. I'm not a believer of decoupling. But of late, the price moves have astounded me, and the kind of domestic buying has been quite spectacular as well. So yeah, but here's the idea. I just thought it was important to bring in somebody who's seen a lot more cycles and has a better view on and a better grip on global markets than any of us likely do. And Ray Dalio certainly fits that bill, and which is why this piece. This is of course, the spaces that I was talking about. We did this yesterday. It was pretty interesting, the kind of conversation. Maybe some of you would want to hear this as well. Okay, stocks and sectors in focus very quickly. Sector in focus remains IT, of course. Nifty IT on a good day was down yesterday. It's now down 27% in line with the Nasdaq's decline of 26%. Infosys and LTT has led the decline with heavy short build up. The thing is, when I speak to experts, they say that stocks like HCL Tech and Wipro are trading at better valuations vis-a-vis Infosys premium to history. So compared to Infosys historical valuations, Infosys is trading at a much higher premium. That is not the case with stocks like HCL Tech and Wipro. They are trading at not such a high premium to their historical valuations, and therefore watch out for those. Interestingly, by the way, I just thought I should bring to your notice, there is an interesting note today, if I'm not wrong, from Jefferies. Yeah, Jefferies is saying that the employee pyramid for Indian IT firms has improved in FY22. And they are saying that better pyramid management can help IT firms like HCL Tech, Tech Mahindra, and Wipro and LTI close the 4 to 8% margin gap that they have versus TCS and Infosys, which have superior employee pyramid. So, well, in all cases, if at all people are talking about buying, they're talking about buying some, if at all, the IT firms which have the better valuation back. So, interesting. Stocks to focus on: GR Infra. Well, holders will offer up to 6.8% stake via OFS. The floor price at 1260 rupees, which is a discount of 9.3%. I also hear that maybe there is a PVR block today, so do watch out for that one as well in the session. A 47 lakh block at a price of 185 to 1929. So do watch out for PVR. Then Balaji Amines, they've completed the first phase of a 90-acre greenfield project. It's ready to commence commercial production by the end of September, and therefore the second half of FY23 will have the benefits, presumably, of higher revenues from the new capacity. They've started construction in phase 2 of the greenfield project for methylamine and methylamine products. So maybe Balaji Mines could be in focus today. Adani Enterprises, promoters, splits trade and investment, bought 5 lakh shares on September 13th. This is ahead of the rebalancing that will happen at the end of the month, and that's a large block that they've bought. So interesting timing from the promoters of Adani Enterprises. Standard disclaimer, by the way, Adani Group owns about 49% stake in BQ Prime. Then Tamil Nadu Mercantile Bank will list today, so do watch out for that one. And Adani Ports, the recent brokerage coverage has been fairly optimistic, I must say. So Citi, for example, today said that the capex plans will support growth ambitions, and they have raised the target price, if I'm not wrong, to 1105. I think it's 1105. So, it is interesting. Then yesterday I was speaking about this Jefferies note, so they upped the target price as well in trade yesterday. So do watch out for that one as well. What else? There is, of course, a bunch of other stocks that one should keep in mind. So some very strong con calls done yesterday. Reddington reiterating the growth strategy. Titagarh Wagons apparently a very good con call. Do watch out for that one. So that is an interesting one. And just the kind of buying that we're seeing at the broader end of the spectrum is just quite crazy. India Pesticides, massive delivery. Snowman Logistics, 9.2 times 1 month average. Some of these companies are just shooting up on fairly high delivery-based buying, so might be mindful of all of those as well. Last but not the least, while everybody's talking about creating wealth, and which is what we are doing, here's something uh, that should warm the heart. And this is just very, very interesting, because it's not a small donation that this promoter has done. The billionaire Patagonia founder gives away the whole firm for climate change. This firm was valued at about $3 billion or thereabouts, and he's given away the whole firm uh, to on charity, which is quite something, right? So I it stood out for me, and I thought it was important to bring out what has happened overnight. Maybe some of you might know, some of you might not know, but Warren Schunar essentially made this donation, $3 billion worth of a firm. I presume his life's work given away for climate change. Quite a big heart. On that positive note, thanks so much for tuning into the Trade Setup. Have a great day ahead.